Welcome everybody to another episode of DNS Unfiltered. Today I'm joined by none other than Jennifer Bleam, the cybersecurity Sherpa. Jen, how are you?
I am good, the one and only. I am so excited to talk to you and your listeners, your guests. So much fun. Let's jump into it.
So Jen and I have met a few times in person, which is probably rare in this internet space that we all kind of live and work in. So it's really good to see you again. We had random conversations even before we met in person, just because we were curious about things each other was working on. So it's great to see you again, first of all.
You too. Always a pleasure.
So I'm curious, Jen has been on this mission recently to bring AI to MSPs. I've
Yes.
seen it on LinkedIn. I've seen it. Actually, I'm on your email list.
Oh,
I'm going to pull that up actually while I have that. But
okay.
anyway, tell me about the journey of like MSP, like cybersecurity, to this new AI push.
Okay, so when I first shifted over to the vendor side, my husband has an MSP. So let me start there. My husband has an MSP. I've helped him with his sales and marketing for maybe 2 decades now. And at some point, I decided to shift over to the vendor community. And one of my first jobs as a vendor employee was helping a cybersecurity company go from really startup to acquisition in a very short amount of time. I think it was about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. We were selling Sentinel One, for those of you that ever bought anything from Carver Cybersecurity, which became Continuum, which is now ConnectWise. I was part of that whole growth process. So I was the VP of sales and marketing. And what I saw in the cybersecurity growth world is the same thing that I'm seeing right now with AI, but it's a little scarier with AI. And what I'm seeing is that a lot of MSPs, because they typically are very data driven and very methodical and logical, they like to have all their ducks in a row before they pull the trigger. That's not necessarily a bad thing. With cybersecurity, what we saw early adopters kind of figuring out their packaging, their pricing, the pros and cons, the objection handling. Sometimes they crashed and burned and got them, picked themselves up and then tried again. But we had a lot of the laggards, or the ones that were kind of like, I'm going to wait and see, is this cybersecurity thing really such a big deal? And again, that skepticism is valid, because if you think about the adoption of cloud, like cloud was like all the rage, and then it rolled out very slowly. And then cybersecurity was the rage, but it also rolled out slowly. And I'm kind of seeing that same reticence with AI. Like, I know there's money to be made. It's clearly, there's buzz around it. Clients and prospects are asking about it. It falls loosely in the box of technology, but there's a lot of MSPs that are back on their heels waiting for someone else to figure it out. And that may have worked with the cloud. It definitely worked with cybersecurity, but it's not going to work with AI, because AI is evolving so quickly. I liken it. I talked to an MSP a couple of days ago, and I said it's kind of like with cybersecurity. You could watch the train go by, and you're like, another train is coming right by in another month. I'll hop on that one. I'll figure out my packaging in a month, or it'll be next quarter's quarterly rock. AI is like a rocket ship. Like, by the time you see it go by, you can't get on it. Like, it's gone. And so we're seeing that same trend with AI. And so I'm trying to wake up the MSPs to say, yes, you can figure this out. It's not, maybe it's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's not the hardest thing in the world. You figured out packaging and pricing before. Your clients know you, like you, trust you, but you have to start selling it, or a consultant is going to come in, sell them, or convince them to use free tools with cybersecurity issues, data compliance issues, data governance issues, and they're just going to trust that consultant. So it's a perfect storm, just like cybersecurity was a perfect storm. And I think it's a wonderful time to get on board and figure out how to sell it.
So jump on that rocket ship.
Jump on the rocket ship.
There is a lot to unpack there. So
Yes.
I'm gonna try to peel back the onion layer by layer here. Starting with the email I got. Oh, I got it today around noon. Awesome. So the first sentence includes a quote. What if I picked the wrong AI offer? So tell me about that.
Yes. So I've talked to probably In the last month, I've probably talked to about 30 MSPs, and that seems to be a very common refrain is what if I pick the wrong thing, the wrong offering, the wrong tool, the wrong whatever it is, solution, the wrong builder, and is there a chance you're going to pick the wrong thing? Sure. But if you start by having conversations with your clients, business conversations, almost consulting conversations, like what kind of things are you doing in your business that are repeatable, systemized? Maybe you have SOPs for them. What are some, I call them chores. What are chores in your company that the next person is always waiting? Sales is always waiting for marketing to fill in the blank. Operations is always waiting for sales to fill in the blank. Like those are bottlenecks. My clients are always waiting for me to blank. My prospects are always waiting for me to create proposals. Like whatever that is, there's some kind of a bottleneck, and uncovering those will start to color what your offering should be. And so don't create it in a vacuum. Don't just, throw a dartboard against the wall and say, oh, good, we're just going to start offering agents or automations or custom GPTs or whatever. Do it based on the conversations you're having with your clients.
So it sounds like they probably already know what they should tackle first. Like one of the bigger pain points, maybe, in the top bucket of things people don't like to do or always get bottlenecked, start with one of those, and maybe start with like one of the small ones who automate / inject AI where a human normally would do something is, I think, a pretty good strategy. Would you agree with that?
I agree with most of that. I don't think most of the end users really know what to do. They want to get involved in AI. Some of them are real anti-AI, but most of them are leaning in. They're curious, or they're like all in. They'll buy it tomorrow, but they don't know what that thing is. Like, what should I be automating? What should I be optimizing? And so some of the questions you mentioned are perfect to get them to realize, oh, is that a use case for AI? I didn't know. We've always done it this way. We've always cobbled together this complicated spreadsheet where I'm manually pulling data from 5 different tools. I didn't even know AI could help with that because we've done it this way for 10 or 20 years. So I think they are capable of identifying those chores, those challenges, if you prompt them or ask them correctly, but I don't think they're going to come up with it in a vacuum without your help.
Now, okay, I gotta step back a little bit. So earlier on, you mentioned the skepticism jumping in on AI versus cybersecurity. Do you think there are more AI skeptics or less AI skeptics in the cybersecurity race?
Are we talking about MSPs or are we talking about the small business owners?
Let's just do MSPs for now.
Are there more MSPs skeptical of AI? Yes. And I think a part of that is with cybersecurity, we could see tickets, issues, web traffic that we don't want our clients to see or our children to see. We could see ransomware attacks. We could see those statistics. With AI, it's not the same. We can't quite see the ROI. ROI is a little bit hard to prove. It's not impossible. It's just a little bit more difficult to prove. How do you measure better customer experience? It's not that they're getting zero experience now. That's cybersecurity was kind of like right now you have no cybersecurity because you're using, a blue router, and we want to put something in place. And there's at least it's an intangible, but there was still something to sink our teeth into. This is an intangible that, well, we're right now we're servicing our clients. Maybe it's not perfect, but our clients are staying with us, and there's not a lot of churn. And so it's just a different mentality.
So are you making fun of Linksys routers? You said blue routers.
What?
I think I have one on my shelf back here.
Are you using it?
No, of course not. Of course not.
It's like a the
It's like a
Smithsonian of
yeah,
routers.
like a throwback piece. Like look
Yes,
at the '90s or
yes.
2000s.
Right? And that's, I mean, if you think about it, that's really when cybersecurity started to become this buzzword. And then a little while later with ransomware and things like that. So cybersecurity was solving a business problem, whereas AI is more of an optimizer. It's not,
Yes.
it's not broken. It just could be so much better.
And you think about your rocket ship analogy, which is perfect. The speed at which AI hit the market versus the speed at which cybersecurity hit the market is just drastic. So like
It's staggering.
ChatGPT launched and they surpassed the amount of users and before anyone else had gotten to 1 million users. Like it was almost instantaneous when AI like emerged, and then it was like, holy crap, what is this? Everybody has to get on the train or the rocket ship.
Right. And it's the first time. I was talking to John Harden about this a couple of weeks ago, and he pointed out it's the first time that a technology started with the end users and it's gradually making its way into government and higher education. Usually it's the exact inverse. The government has, great backups or a wonderful firewall or whatever. Insert
Or
the
like
thing. Top
technology.
secret technology, the ability to stop ransomware or roll it back, and then gradually it trickles down. This is the opposite, which if you think of like a quick SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, there is a very high probability. I don't have the stat. I could pull it from Perplexity. I saw it a couple weeks ago, but very high likelihood that your clients are using these tools and they just haven't told you. Whereas with cybersecurity, they weren't going out and buying enterprise level security solutions. They couldn't. They only had 15 endpoints. Nobody would sell to them. This is a very different motion. So it's an opportunity, but it's also a threat.
Yeah, this is more like the iPhone coming out
Yes,
than cybersecurity coming out.
correct.
Yeah, because consumers had access to it first. I've actually never heard that breakdown before. That is very interesting.
Yeah,
I'm going to have
I
to
hadn't either.
talk.
John Harden's just got an amazing way of
Good
looking at the
job, John.
world. So I know, right? I was like, you're right.
So
So
you said something else a little bit ago about free tools.
yeah,
First, I'm curious, what is the free tools that you're talking about? You don't have to say their names, but like, what do you mean?
it's not even that there's a brand I'm concerned about. It's more like, even if you just go with, like, let's say mainstream Chat GPT, there are data risks with everything except for the highest enterprise level tool. So I'm on the $20 a month plan. Probably most people that are paying for a plan, they're not paying for the enterprise level plan. They're either on Teams or they're on an individual, $20 a month plan. And there are just native to any tool that's AI, other than there's a handful in the industry. But most mainstream AI tools that your clients are using, maybe even that your team is using without telling you, there are native security risks because they're taking your data and they're using it to train the large language model so it can get better and better and better. There's lawsuit with ChatGPT not allowed to erase or delete any files ever. That's alarming. And so it's not about naming a brand. There isn't one brand that's good as far as security and data precautions, and yet your clients are still going to be using them. So it's a sticky wicket to try to untangle.
Before I get into a line of questioning I have, I'm curious, what do you think, or like, if people are going to use AI regardless, sounds like, do you think it's detrimental if you don't start using AI? Like, just pretend like a company, like even like DNS filter. So like if our staff, if we're not using AI, are we going to fall behind?
Yes, 100%. It's kind of like, my husband and I laugh all the time. He's a little bit older than I am, and his teachers growing up were like, "You must learn your times tables. You're never going to carry a calculator around in your pocket." And
That one gets me.
yes, we do. We have a calculator, a phone, a scanner. I mean, it's like email. It's all the things, right? And so I used to homeschool my kids years ago. And when we were homeschooling, I would always say, avail yourself of the tools. Use the tools that are there. And really, we're all kind of using AI right now. Like, there's a lot of different instances. Like, Amazon is putting at the top of their reviews an aggregation of everybody's thoughts and opinions. Everybody agrees that this T-shirt is the best thing ever. It's a very black, and the neckline is perfect. But where they disagree is in the fit, whatever. So that's AI. We've been going, hey Siri, hey Alexa for years. That is technically AI. So if you're not using AI and you're getting on the train or the rocket ship, you will absolutely get left behind. And all it takes is taking a look at what kids are doing with AI, how quickly you can create a rough draft of a blog post or a rough draft of a social media marketing plan or pillar content or videos. Like, all of that is now instant or pretty close to instant. Whereas those of us that have been in this knowledge working space for years, we're used to starting with a blank page. And even if that's the only thing you do is say, you know what, our culture is that we never start with a blank page. We at least use AI to get a skeleton outline or a working first version. Even if that's all you do, you will be worlds ahead of where you were a year ago. But I had a conversation with a vendor who shall remain nameless. They're on the smaller side. They are growing quickly. They cobbled together the money for a senior marketing person. Let's call them a chief marketing officer. I don't know their title, but that level of person, senior VP, CMO. And that's all the money they had. So, a couple of founders, CMO, were bootstrapping. But what they did, and I want to know how, because I don't know how yet, and I'm going to find out, they created an AI team for this. We'll just call her a CMO. So on paper, there's only 3 or 4 team members, but in reality, I guess, we've got AI team members that are helping the CMO do her job. And that's the direction that we're going. It's staggering.
Well, I'm glad you said that because that's exactly what we're doing.
Good. Okay, good. Then let's talk offline because I'd like to learn more about that.
Well, I'll tell you some of the things we're experimenting with, I guess is a good word, is so you can actually build a knowledge base of all of your public information.
Sure.
And give AI access to that knowledge base. So we can do that like for DNS filters, website, our help documents, our API documentation, throw it into this vector database, it's, like a brain essentially,
Yep.
and then use a large language model to put questions upon that brain and give it access to web search and a few other like tools, we'll say. And then it can really shortcut us into being better marketers, better at sales, and faster.
Yes.
But we've been seeing that there's still a need for human in the loop. And we're building these tools to augment our staff, not to replace anybody.
Yes.
And I think the value in AI, I hate to say this, but the value probably lies in reduced future headcount versus reduced headcount from today. So you can scale larger with fewer people, the people you already have.
Correct. I would agree. It's interesting. The output that AI gives, it's fast. I mean, it's blazingly fast. Like 5 years, we would have drooled over it. Now we start to get annoyed if it isn't perfect, the second or third iteration. But it's still not perfect. It may not 100% match what you were going for. It may not 100% align with your brand voice. We might have M dashes all the way through, like all the things. But that's why AI is a thought partner. And I trumpet this a lot with my MSP clients is never give up that thought leadership seat. You, the human, are always the thought leader. AI is the thought partner. And I attended a webinar a couple of weeks ago with a pretty well-known influencer in the broad marketplace. He's not even in the IT space exclusively. He's, just think of like big, successful $10 to $50 million mainstream businesses. And his value prop on this webinar And I knew it was going to be light education, heavy sales. And that's okay because it was AI and I just wanted to learn what he was doing. And he gave 4 or 5 different examples of people who came on board his team, and they were like an unpaid intern from Disney, and we hired Sally and we turned her into a senior director, and like this person was a dental hygienist and she's now a VP of marketing, and like all of these great transformations. And I went, color me skeptical, because yes, people can elevate them, they can learn skills, they get like, I don't have an issue with that. But someone who a year ago was, sweeping floors at Disney World cannot possibly take the AI output and know what's wrong with it. So can we really take that person and make them an SEO expert, in 10 minutes simply by giving them a prompt or an agent or whatever we're going to get automation? Doesn't matter. We need someone who can take that information and go, that's really close, but we should not put that on the website. We're going to get, Google slapped, or it's going to take our website down, or it's going to, like, whatever. We're not quite at the point that we can take a junior person with zero experience and make them into a VP of marketing. That's today, today, that's a pipe dream. In 5 years, I don't know. We can.
Yeah, right. 5 years, who
in 5
knows?
years, but today that's just not possible.
Yeah, I won't get on my what happened to all the junior level employees soapbox,
I
but
need one of those. I need a junior employee, and they're tough to find.
yes. But I do want to talk about this AI unlock for MSPs. So, like, you're in the space, you talk to a lot of vendors, a lot of MSPs. How do you walk them through how to get over the hump of their skepticism?
So I have 6 modules, and I'm not going to be able to go into all of them today, but we talked a little bit about the first, like your packaging. What is it that you're going to sell? And before you can figure out your packaging, you need to have a couple of conversations. And for some MSPs, that's the hardest part, because they're good at the technology, they're good at opening and closing tickets, they're reasonably good at documentation. And then when I'm like, and now talk to a human, they're like, what? Like in person? I'm like, well, yeah, ideally in person. Zoom would work, get on a Teams call or something, get on a phone call if you have to. And sometimes it's because they aren't people, they're just not a people person. Other times it's that they're so busy and they're like, Jennifer, you just gave me a chore. You just gave me a task. Well, I mean, otherwise we can extrapolate, and the more MSPs I'm talking to, the more I can extrapolate what I think the offers can be. But for me to say this is broadly what SMBs want versus this is what your base wants, two very different things. So starting with conversations, it can be as simple as an ask campaign, which is you email your clients and say, I'm thinking about creating this thing. I'm thinking about creating an offer where we come out and for 4 hours we mind map and workshop your current workflows, looking for ways to, you might want to use the word optimize or automate, because if we say AI and they're very anti-AI, we just lost them. So be careful of your language. I'm thinking about doing this. If I offered this, it is a paid offer. Would you be interested? And see what kind of response you get. And then just keep playing with the languaging. Hey, I'm thinking about creating an offer where we teach your team members how to safely and effectively use some of the mainstream tools. If I did that, would you be interested? I'm thinking, so just rinse and repeat an ask campaign, ASK, every other month or so until you get enough feedback that you're like, that's the one that landed with my clients. And now you've got your offer. So ideally, you will have one-on-one conversations. If that is impossible for whatever reason, or you're allergic to conversations, or you just don't have time, then you can go with an ask campaign email, just an email campaign. It's not as great, but it's a good second choice.
I think that is really good advice. So you're basically saying be a human, talk to them, preferably if you have to use an email, you can do that, but do the human side first, do the footwork, leg work, so that they know you're still there, for one thing, which is
Yes.
always good for MSPs, to let them know that you are advancing, you are growing, you're offering new services. Like, that's a pretty exciting thing that they can
Yes.
kind of show off a little bit. And you're just connecting on the human level, because when you start introducing all this automation and optimizations, you may find yourself less you're observed less frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Even with like all the cybersecurity tooling we have now, like, you're removed a little bit from your clients.
Yes, agreed. And that is not unusual for the MSP to say, I will ask you, tell me about your third from the largest client, right? And they'll say, well, they're a manufacturing company. I'm like, okay, good. What do they make? I don't know. Okay. Do they have
If you look at their website,
and they're like, I don't know. Like, do they run 24/7? I'm not sure. Do they have any compliance regulations? I don't really know. And I'm like, okay, let's go get to know your clients. And a good way to do that is to just bring a second person and say, hey, Mikey, I already know all of this about your company, but for the purpose of introducing this to Sam, would you tell Sam about your company and what are you manufacturing? And so just, if Sam's our new person and we want him to know, and I
right?
thought it would be good to hear from
This is
you.
when I introduce my friend, my wife or something at a party. I'm like, oh, this is my wife, Kelly. And my wife knows that's the key to say, oh, and what's your name?
Oh, that's great. I need to teach my husband that because I'm not particularly great with names.
Oh, she knows the drill.
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
this is my wife. I'm like, your turn.
Tag, you're it.
Yeah, Jack.
Oh.
So you mentioned you have these modules set up, and I'm curious, like, what are some of the other ones? Are they worth diving into? Do you want to go through them?
So one of them is branding. You kind of mentioned it. The idea of branding is let's update our website, let's update our social media presence, maybe start posting about AI. And you nailed it when you said you're rolling out a new division or a new offering, which is exciting. But it's also, I talk to MSPs all the time who they get a little prickly when an existing client who is happy with them, and then they go buy a phone system from someone else. And they're like, wait, we sell phones? Why didn't you buy a phone from me? And they're like, oh, I didn't know. Okay, well, maybe next time. And
It's your
next time
fault, it must be.
it's 10 years. It's 10 years from now before they need a new phone. So this is also kind of building a little bit of a trench around you. Like, don't go buy AI from some other consultant. We're your cybersecurity guys and gals. We're going to take care of this for you. We'll take a holistic look. We'll talk to your team. We kind of know what you like, what you don't like. We know what makes you frustrated. So we're your go-to company for AI. So branding, packaging and pricing, branding, sales, of course. I love sales. So we have a lot of different things in terms of sales. Marketing, a little bit more broadly marketing. So a little bit of that is ask campaign. A little bit of that is paid discovery. So when I was talking about getting a whiteboard or having conversations about flow charting, what kind of things is your team up to on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and mapping that, doing like a mapping session. That is a paid consulting gig, which is a little bit unusual for MSPs. So we talk about what that looks like, and we have a playbook for that. And it's going very well. It's a mindset shift. I had a client that a week or two ago, he took a phone call, cold phone call off of his website, and they called and said, we're looking for a microphone. And he said, a month ago, I would have just said, a microphone. What am I going to make? $10 on that? I'm just going to send you a link. Buy it yourself. You don't need me to install it. It's one cable. You got this, right?
Like, sends them a link. Not even an Amazon affiliate link.
Yeah, right? Because it's not worth it. It's like, okay, fine. And to his credit, he said, yeah, I can help you with that. What are we trying to accomplish? And I think it was a dentist or it was a doctor, someone in the medical field who said, I want to record into the microphone my emails because that's going to be faster. And then he said, the prospect said, I have a lot of repetitive emails where I just feel like I could speak it much faster than I could type it, which is true because most of us, on a good day, type 60 to 80 words a minute, maybe with or without typos. And most of us talk 168, 100, maybe 200 words a minute. So great troubleshooting on the part of the prospect. But the MSP said, I'm just curious, what if we could put some optimization or some automations in place so that some of those emails were just answered automatically? And it opened up a conversation about AI. Now, it did not close. The guy was like, no, dude, I just need a microphone. It's fine. It's okay. The reason we celebrated that win inside of the community is a month ago, Brian never would have talked about AI. He would have just said, here's a link for a microphone, or like, go drive to Best Buy this weekend and buy yourself one. You got this. Go away. Goodbye. But instead, he opened up the conversation and kind of cracked the cork, on his first AI conversation. And it's just a different shift, different way to think about it.
He basically got curious. Like, what is your microphone for?
Yes.
And like, honestly, the way when I heard that request, I want a microphone for my emails. I was just thinking of the brilliance of like the ChatGPT app on your phone.
Yes.
And just talking into it. Like, it's really good at transcribing your voice. Like, you would think Siri would be that good, but no.
It is not. No, the amount of driving around that I do on a day off and fix a lot of business problems. Hey, this just came to mind. Can you help me solve it? And I have this dialogue with ChatGPT, and 30 minutes later, like, oh, great. We have an action plan now. Wonderful. This is good.
Yeah, you're like, I'm stuck in the car anyway. May as well get
some work done.
Have a conversation with my AI.
Exactly.
So one thing you brought up earlier is that the AI packaging is an upsell. And
yes.
This is MSPs they're always looking for new revenue sources. And this is the perfect one. You don't even have to do any marketing for AI because the entire world is doing that on your behalf.
Correct.
All you have to do is say, I am the deliverer of said thing.
Exactly.
Well, how do you think they get in front of their customers with that knowledge, like prove that they're the person?
Yeah. So I just sat down with a chatbot builder, and that seems so blasé, but I think if you have a spreadsheet of all of your clients and you've got like, okay, they have how many seats, and do they have my backup? Do they have my firewall? Do they have my internet filtering? Do they have my full cybersecurity stack? Are they managed services? Are they co-managed? Or have we talked to them about compliance? Like that stacked chart, you should have a new column on that says, do they have a chatbot on their website? And if they do not, that is such an easy add. I just demoed this tool with my guys this afternoon, and one gal, which is very typical for this industry. We've got 11 companies, one of which is female owned. So that's about average. And it is literally a tool that you log in. I could drop in my client's website and I can create it's not a dummy chatbot. It is about 20% functional. It's functional enough that it essentially, they call it demo and close. So let's just pretend like I was pitching to you and you own an accounting firm. I would call you up, and it's not a cold call because you're a client. Could you do it as a cold call? Yep, 100%. But I'd test it out with your clients first. And you're like, hey, I just built something cool for you. Do you have 10 minutes to take a look at it? And you're either going to say yes, or you're going to say no, or you're going to say, how's next week? Any of those is fine. And then when we get on the Zoom call or the Teams call next week, what happens is there is a picture of your website. It looks exactly like your website, and the chatbot is functional over top of your website. So it looks like it's on your site. And you should be very upfront and say, listen, this is not fully baked out, but I just wanted to show you the kind of things that it could do. And so it will say, hey, is this your first time to my site? And it can do voice, but most people will probably do text. Yes, first time to your site. Awesome. Are you looking for someone to balance your books every week? Are you looking for a new tax preparer? I'm looking for a new tax preparer. Cool. Are you an LLC? Are you a business, personal, blah, blah, blah. It goes through the whole intake process and then schedules an appointment. And so it literally does all of that. And it takes the MSP about 3 minutes of work because they've got it all templated. And there's just like 4 little highlighted areas that you have to update. And now we've at least done a demo. And what I'm seeing is that I can say to my client, listen, we'll set all of this up for you. Like I told you, this isn't fully functional. We need to finish tuning it and, setting it up. But typically, we would charge about $5,000 to set this up. You're a client, so we're going to do it for $2,000, and then the management is $500 a month. Could be $1,500 a month. There's very little management, and it's the first in. And then you could even say, once they say yes, congratulations, that's your first AI use case because this is AI. Why don't we come in and look for more? So it's a really easy in, and it's pretty easy to convince someone, hey, are you always on your website? Do you know when someone's on your website? Do you ever miss a phone call? Because we could set up a voice bot as well to answer the phone, and you can show statistics about if a lead is followed up on within 10 minutes, it's 300% more likely to close or whatever those stats are. Find them, find the real ones. What I quoted is approximately right. And now you're enabling their business. You're not just keeping their business running, which is what you're used to on the managed services side. You're not just keeping the business secure, but you're making the business better. And you want to talk about something sticky. Let's say it's this is my pet peeve with my chiropractor. When I think about my back hurting is first thing in the morning or last thing at night. And guess when they're not open? First thing in the morning or last thing at night. So how cool would it be for me, for a patient experience, customer experience, for me to be able to text my team, my chiropractor, and go, hey, my back's
at midnight.
At midnight. And the bot talks to me. And it's like, hey, this is Dr. K's bot. So sorry to hear that. I have an opening tomorrow at 10. How's that? And I'm like, done. And now that bot has made that chiropractor money. So we've talked through a couple of different use cases, but that's a really easy in. And then you kind of sell it. And then you're like, by the way, you probably knew this already, Mikey, but this is like fully AI driven. Why don't we see if there's some other cool use cases? And you just start to stack it like Lego blocks. So it's a little bit bespoke. It's a little unique for every client. Everyone won't need a chatbot. Everyone won't need an automation or an agent. They're all going to be just a little bit different. But if you think of maybe 15 or 20 options, every client is going to need a few of those 15 or 20.
Absolutely. So I have this conversation every time I go get my hair cut. I know, looks good, right?
Yeah,
so my barber, this guy, on and off, has been cutting my hair since I was like 4. And to get an appointment, you have to call him, and then he writes something down in a little book. He's not open on Fridays. He's randomly off on random days because he needs vacations or, whatever thing he wants to do. And I'm like, Brad, you could have a text bot or a phone answering bot that could just schedule these appointments for you. All it would need is access to your calendar.
Correct.
And you wouldn't have to do all this. He's like, man, it seems like a lot of work. I'm like, it's not that hard.
It's not a lot of work. And to your point, in 5 years, the barbers that have that are going to be further ahead than the barbers who don't. The chiropractors who have that are going to be worlds ahead of the chiropractors who don't.
So you said something awesome that you kind of whet their appetite with a AI automation optimization that they may or may not even realize was AI.
Correct.
Because there's a lot of AI out there. There's like new AI tools coming out every day. There's like this new video thing, this new image thing, this new voice synthesizers and cybersecurity risks. Like your child can call you and ask for your credit card number now or whatever.
Yep.
It's an emergency. So there's like just basic wrappers around ChatGPT that do something that have like a good prompt.
Mhm.
There's AI is like all over the place,
It
coming
is
out everywhere,
all over the
and
place.
it can be overwhelming to the client of the MSP and the MSP themselves.
Correct.
So I'm curious, what do you think is the best way to kind of separate the noise from all the signal that we should be paying attention to?
Yeah. Okay. So there's two schools of thought, and you know me well enough to know I'm going to go a little bit contrarian. One of the schools of thought is that the MSPs should be learning what's the difference between an agent and automation, and learn the tools, learn when is Zapier a good option, when is Make a good option, when is N8N a good option. I just read a month ago N8N. There's some new thing coming that's going to put N8N out of business, and I'm like, it is so difficult to learn all of the tools and then to stay on top of them. So that's a challenge. That's what some of the coaches are teaching is like, just hire these young kids and pay them to stay on top of the tools. I'm going the other direction. I actually have built an AI provider marketplace where we are vetting the young kids that know the tools and featuring them in the marketplace. And so the MSPs are finding opportunities. I actually created my first bot. It's like a chat bot that it says, hey, I just created this opportunity. I talked to the client. Here's the problem. Here's what we think we want it to do. Is this a bot? Is this an automation? Is this an agent? Is this something else? Is this something custom software? And no matter what they find, the bot will say, that's a perfect example for an agent. Why don't you go to our marketplace and find somebody who can build the agent for you? So then they can go to our marketplace, and there's 5 different companies that build agents. They can interview them all if they would like. We put them through some security screening. We ask our MSPs to do the same, and then they can get the product or solution from the builder and then mark it up and deliver it to the client. So then it's up to the builders to find the best tools. It's kind of like if we buy a house, or you buy the lot next door and you decide to build a second house, you're going to rely on the builder to know how to build the house. You're just like, I just know I want it to have a lot of windows to look at the water. I just know I want it to be 2 stories or 1 story sprawling. I would be like, I just know I want it to have a lot of closets, right? And so I get to paint the picture as the client, which is the MSP and the MSP's client. They get to paint the picture of what success looks like. Then they go over to the builder, and the builder has to create it. And then the MSP marks it up and delivers it. So that's a much more normal, it's more aligned to the way an MSP buys right now. They find a
Yep.
problem. I have lots of spam. And they don't build a spam filter. They go find a spam filter that somebody else already built. They mark it up, they deploy it. It's that same selling motion.
So let's talk about this marketplace
Yeah.
for a minute. First of all, how do you get to it?
Okay, so it is not even, we're not even talking about it right now. Like, literally, the only people that are in it are the people that are going through my coaching offer. We're going to start to talk about it probably mid to late September. So maybe about the time that this drops. How do you get to it? It's inside of our own community. So we're able to lock it down. So you get in. We are kicking around a very low, probably $150 a month to get access to the marketplace, to get coaching every month, to get some enablement materials like some landing page templates and some lead magnets and things like that. So it's still very much in process, but by end of year, we're actually ahead of schedule, which is lovely. By end of year, we will have more than 20 providers in there. And right now, I think we have 13 or 14 different specialties. So, like AI compliance, AI governance. There's this thing called a small language model. I didn't know there was. I think I need to get the details, but I think it's a private large language model, and they're just calling it a small language model. I'm not sure. We have a handful of people that can build agents, automations, custom GPTs. We have one organization that does bespoke software. So if it's like This is a massive, this is brand new. We need a special tool and we've got a 6-figure budget, because those opportunities are out there as well. You can then partner with these people that are inside of the marketplace.
This is really good. So you're basically taking away a lot of that noise and vetting a handful of organizations that you and your team trust and that MSPs can further vet, and you can work that out as the time
Yep.
progresses. It's like a curated Upwork type of thing
Yes,
for AI
that's
automations and
exactly what
bots.
it is. We looked at Upwork and Fiverr, and today we don't have the ability to rank them, but we will. That's 100% on the roadmap, so that you can sort by cost. Maybe you need the cheapest provider. Maybe you want the most expensive because this is involving proprietary data and you don't want to go the cheap route. Maybe the client's like, we really value speed over budget. We don't care what we have to pay, but we've got to get this done this quarter. And so today you can't do a lot of sorting, but there's also only about a dozen providers in there. So it doesn't take a lot of effort to look through. At the point that we've got 100 providers, we're going to want to be able to sort and filter and, provide.
Hopefully, eventually, it won't be like the Apple App Store where there's just like billions of apps. You're like, yeah, that's kind of not as good as you think it is.
No, it will. It's not going to be. It has to be user friendly. I've been in this world long enough to know MSPs are very busy. They need it to almost be self-service. And maybe we'll just put a bot in front of it that asks a couple of questions and then says, based on what you said, here's the best option for you and why. And then you don't even have to search. You don't have to look through all of the providers. But that's a wish list item. Whereas today it's live. We've got about a dozen providers on there, about 13 different specialties that we can fulfill on. And we'll have 20 by year end. So it is live. It is not vaporware. I'll give anybody that wants a tour. I don't. Your cat. You want to? I'll give you a tour. I'll shoot you a video and send it over. So, yeah, it's good. It's really, really good. It's essentially as I started to get more and more into this about a year ago, I'm like, okay, one of the big problems is going to be my clients are resistant to AI. And so we've created some cool ways around that, which we can talk about if you want. But then the next one was going to be, we're already busy. We already can't get to our own internal network, or we're trying to roll out compliance and now we're also trying to roll out AI, or my teams are fully utilized. How am I supposed to spin up another team for a division that has no revenue yet? And so I'm like, well, and at the same time as I'm having those conversations, I'm having conversations with the AI builders who are brilliant in their own rights, but they aren't selling a whole lot. So they're building these really fancy things to show off their skills. Then they're going door knocking and trying to sell it. And one of them said, they don't trust me. Like, they're like, I'm not going to give you access to my HubSpot and my QuickBooks. I don't know you.
Right.
And so I'm like, wait a second, we've got builders that are brilliant, but they have zero know, like, and trust.
Zero authority,
And we have MSPs that don't know the tools, but they have a whole lot of authority. And I'm like, I got something here. This is a marriage made in heaven. So that's what we built. So it's pretty
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
So matchmaker MSPs to build AI builders. This is great. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
And second, you mentioned something very interesting that I kind of wanted to branch off on, which is the one organization that builds bespoke software that you have in your cohort of builders in the marketplace. So there's a lot of tools out there. You just mentioned like Salesforce and HubSpot. There's a lot of other tools that are really good software, but they're kind of generic on purpose so that they can suit the needs of a lot of people. And people spend enormous amounts of money customizing them.
Correct.
And then there's, other pieces of software that people have and buy, but there may be a future where bespoke software specifically tailored to you is so much easier to deliver. Someone who can deliver it is going to be pretty valuable.
Agreed. And if we kind of future cast and we look at, okay, we've got vibe coding which I have not played with, although if I had more time, I would.
You should record yourself, like do a live stream. It's like, I'm going to build an app today. I don't know what that means yet. We'll find out.
I have exactly the app. I'm not going to say it on the podcast because somebody else will take it and it'll be like $4.99 one-time purchase in the App Store. And I know that there's a market for it, and it's not just the MSP market. It's a pretty broad market appeal. Everybody I've told about the app is like, we do need an app that does that. So anyway, let's not chase that rabbit. But if we stack on top of vibe coding and voice bot and kind of this, we're in this interesting world where like if you can dream it, you can create it. It's sort of Field of Dreams, except it actually works. If you build it, if you dream it, you can build it, and it's possible. When you combine all of that and how quickly everything is moving, we probably are 5 years away from, I don't know that I'm ready to say SaaS is going to go away, but perhaps starting to see SaaS reach its peak and start to go down. I think we're a long-ish ways away from SaaS completely going away. I think some of it is as the executives age and they retire, and then we got today's young people become the executives. They may not want to buy a learning management solution for $15,000 a month.
They're like, we can vibe code that in a week.
We can vibe code it. We'll just hire some people off
Assuming
whatever.
vibe coding is better in 5 or 10 years than it is now. It's good,
right,
but it's
exactly.
not
We'll
production
vibe code
level.
it, then we'll pass it off to our compliance and legal department to check before we roll it out. But it's such a crazy world that we're having to rethink business as usual, and that is harder for some niches and some people than others. And I think that's part of why adopting AI is a bit of a challenge for this industry, because we are very process oriented, and it's not so much, oh, we've always done it this way, it works. It's more, I don't know that it's going to work that way. I don't know that the tool is going to work. I don't know that the automation is going to work the first time. And the way I'm doing it now, it works every time. It might be really slow. It might be really manual, very tedious, but at least it works. And so it's a little risky to try new things.
And you don't actually know what the AI is going to spit back out.
No.
In the long run.
No,
you can't predict it necessarily.
No.
Or you can't predict it at all.
Yeah, which is why you really need some kind of education, just for your own team as well as for your clients, to teach them. You like trust but verify. Check those statistics before you quote them from the front of the room. Check the code before you deploy it and assume it's going to work. We saw that recently with very large name, ChatGPT 5, that kind of crashed and burned when they released it. And I think they probably released it fast. They were thinking it wouldn't be around till mid to late fall. Instead, it was out midsummer. And I think they did that for competition reasons. There's a lot of pressure on them. And I believe that this is the first software tool they've ever created. So they don't have any rollout schedule or like a solid dev roadmap or someone that's, let's say a VP going, whoa, we did this 10 years ago and that was a bad idea, so let's go a little bit slower now. Though that they may have people that have that experience, but the company itself doesn't have that corporate mind share about let's test before we roll it out. Let's beta test. Let's put it in a sandbox. And instead, they're rolling stuff out very quickly. And so it is it's a little bit thorny right now. It's kind of the wild, wild west.
Very much wild, wild west. You mentioned statistics back there, and I want to know, so with all this AI stuff, the MSP adding a new package with AI stuff that they barely understand and may need to hire somebody to kind of fulfill it. How do they measure success? Like, is it just revenue? Like, what does the measurement look like?
Revenue's the easy measurement, and that's what everybody wants. Pipeline is a good revenue is a good measurement, and in theory pipeline should lead to revenue. And I'm kind of reverse engineering. If we want revenue, we need pipeline. If we want pipeline, we need conversations. So if we're going to kind of least common multiple, I don't know if that's the right term, but anyway, if we kind of rewind it, we need conversations with clients, with prospects, with colleagues, with people that are rolling out AI, with people who decided not to roll out AI, with vendors that are offering AI. That is going to serve as education. And then eventually some of those conversations will lead to pipeline and will lead to sales. So you're really spinning up a new division. It is a brand new offer. So think of it like a brand new division. And in an ideal world, you'd measure all the measurements, but in the real world, we're going to measure, 1 to 3.
Unfortunately, we're just human still.
We are still just humans, and that's okay. Hopefully we'll be just humans for a long time.
And I have some good news for the MSPs and others watching, that if there is a AI expert in the room, they may be 3 or 4 steps ahead of where you're at right now, because
Correct.
this stuff is very, very new still. There is a rocket ship flying away very quickly, but no one has fully grasped the potential of this particular technology. So there's
Yeah.
still plenty of time to jump on board.
100%. Yeah, very well said.
What do you think is next for the AI MSP combo, other than your marketplace exploding and, Jen lives on the beach in Tahiti or wherever,
Okay,
wherever you
I'm
want to
okay
get?
with that. That would be lovely.
Other than that, what do you think?
There is a part of me that is concerned that AI is going to erode the traditional MSP model. Because at some point, your clients will stop opening up a ticket for a printing problem, and they're instead going to open up a generative AI solution, or they might just talk to it. Hey, Chatty, help me troubleshoot my printing issue. And it's quite good at that, because I had to troubleshoot a sound card issue when I was across the country in California. I'm in Maryland. My tech support is in Maryland. I happen to be married to the owner of that tech support company, and they were sleeping. And it's fine. I don't pay for 24-hour support, but I still needed, I listen, it was late. I wanted to watch a movie on Netflix and I couldn't. So I just being real transparent. So I got on ChatGPT, and it did get into like, go into the BIOS. And I'm like, no. Again, thought partner, thought leader. I'm like, I will not be editing the BIOS. I don't even know what that means, but that's not something I do. So I'm like, give me instructions that just have me working with the Windows interface. And it helped me fix my issue. Now, the next time I rebooted, it broke again, so it didn't fix it. So it
But you
didn't.
got to watch Netflix.
But I got to watch Netflix, exactly. So it was a win. So it didn't completely eliminate the need for my MSP, but in a year or two, the model is going to change. And that's why I'm trying to get MSPs ahead of that model change. Maybe it becomes a big AI with, oh yeah, we'll do your managed services too. When and if you ever call
Oh,
us.
yeah. Right. That is hilarious, because right now it's like cybersecurity. Well, excuse
Yep.
me. Yesterday it was like cybersecurity.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, and we'll do your, telephones and computers too. And
Yeah.
now it's like AI, we'll do your cybersecurity and your
Yeah.
computers and your telephones too.
I think it's coming. That's really, you asked. That's what I think.
Shots fired.
I hope I'm wrong. I love this industry. But I think there's some massive shakeup happening right now that end users are not going to put in a ticket. They're just going to ask their AI for help. And, I'd be curious if the larger RMM tools could say across their entire base, can we aggregate the number of tickets, and are they going up? Are they going down? Are they flat? I suspect they're probably going down. If they're not yet,
Yeah.
I think they will be in the next year.
People are are they have access to tools that already deliver a level of support that is good enough sometimes.
Correct.
But that's also the same, that is the opportunity, because the MSP can be providing that interface that the users are chatting with to get answers, because you can fine tune, like I was talking about, we built the DNS filter brain, and new hires can just do a Slack message. This is eventually, it's still very in progress,
Yeah.
but eventually they'll be able to say, tell me about DNS filter. Who's my manager? Tell me about the CEO and what should I be doing today? Like
Yeah.
that type of stuff can just be a interface in Slack or Teams or whatever you guys happen to use.
So
And you can do that for other companies too.
yes. And to your point about free tools, I have a colleague that is setting that up using Notebook LM. Notebook LM is free. It comes with every Google subscription, and you can upload up to 50 knowledge base articles. And so he uploads, this is not in the IT world. You're going to know why I gave that disclaimer in just a second. He uploads all of their company data, their policies, their employee manual, pay scale, all these things into Google. And then he shares the password with everybody on that team. Don't do that. Okay. I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying this is what your clients might be doing if you're not having these conversations. And then all of the employees log into the same account. Okay. Bad idea. But they can query, hey, I just started. When's my first paycheck? Or I've been here a month. When can I ask for a day off? How do I do that? Is there a tool? Do I just email my manager? How do I know when it's approved? Like all of those repetitive questions that the poor HR people or the managers have to answer over and over and over again today can be done with a free tool, or you can pay to create a brain, an HR brain that can answer those questions. And you could charge MSPs, you could charge, work with someone in my marketplace to create a RAG, which is kind of like a database, and sell that to your clients as an HR bot. And that's a really easy use case. And it's a 2 to 6 week process, probably in the neighborhood of 4K, maybe 3K, 5K, something like that. Mark it up however much you want to mark it up and sell it. So that's an easy use case. But if you don't do that, then your clients are going to be using Notebook LM and sharing the password, which we clearly don't want that to happen.
Yes, and that is why, like, even if the dental office or whoever is going to build something, that's why they still need their MSP. Whether the business model changes to some degree, it's not that important. They still are going to need technical advice when they dive into these things.
Yeah.
And you can put yourself right in the middle. You're already in the perfect position. Just get in front of that AI conversation, but don't use the word AI, as Jen said in the beginning.
Yes,
Optimization.
Yes, optimization, automation. Unless you know they're all in on AI, then say AI.
Exactly. Well, Jen, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a lot of fun. I feel like we're going to have a part 2 after the marketplace launches.
Let's do it. I appreciate the time. I love this audience. I love what you're doing. And an amazing name. I love the name of the podcast. So
DNS Unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
Thanks for joining me.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.